Good afternoon, friends. So, how are you at your home? Safe and sound, I hope so. Isn't so? Okay. Last chapter of this book, that is Politics in India Since Independence. And the topic is recent developments in Indian politics. Right. So, in this chapter here, in this chapter, we take a synoptic synoptic view of the 2 decades of politics in India. These developments are complex, for various kinds of factors came together to produce unanticipated outcomes in this period. The new era in politics was impossible to foresee, and it was very difficult to understand. These developments are also controversial. Developments are also sometimes controversial, for these invoke deep conflicts, and we are still too close to the events. Yet we can ask some questions central to the politic change in the politics and political in this period. सबसे पहले coalition का मतलब क्या होता है? Coalition means when one party merges or emerges or merge itself into another party. That is coalition. What are the implications? का implication क्या हुआ? Of the rise of coalition politics of our democracy. Number one, हम ये जान पाएंगे. Next is what is Mandalization, Mandal Commission, BP Mandal ने शुरू reservation policies and all. What is Mandalization all about? In which ways will it change the nature of political representation? Mandal Commission ने बहुत कुछ change कर दिया था, जिसमें रिजर्व क्लासेस के शेड्यूल कास्ट शेड्यूल ट्राइब बैकवर्ड ट्राइब के तो रिजर्वेशन थे ही, ओबीसी के भी रिजर्वेशन आ गए थे, एंड दैट वाज 27%. So Mandal Commission, BP Mandal थे, he started during the tenure of VP Singh, Vishwanath Pratap Singh. He was the prime minister, and he was the only prime minister who was ousted from the assembly. Right. So next is what is the legacy of राम जन्मभूमि? ये जो मंदिर मस्जिद का प्रॉब्लम था, एंड बाबरी मस्जिद, राम जन्मभूमि अयोध्या, जो whatever the decisions have been given by the Supreme Court of India, now Ram Janmabhoomi is there, and Ram Janmabhoomi is secured, and Ram Temple is going on. Sri Ram Temple movement and the Ayodhya demolition. Ayodhya demolition means Babri Masjid ko toda gaya tha for the nature of political mobilization. What does the rise of new policy consensus to the nature of political choices? Political consensus कहाँ तक गया है यहाँ पे? Right? इन सब के बातों के हम बारे में हम पढ़ेंगे. Now, recent developments here come to the point. Contests of the 1990s. We have read in last chapter that Rajiv Gandhi became the prime minister after the assassination of Indira Gandhi. Mrs. Indira Gandhi was the prime minister also, and her son Rajiv Gandhi. He was, let me tell you one thing. He was pilot in some airlines, maybe I think Air India. So after her death, she was assassinated by her own security forces in New Delhi. So uske baad, Rajiv Gandhi became the prime minister. The party that won as many as 415 seats in Lok Sabha in 1984 was reduced to only 197 in this election. Right? और जब इलेक्शन नए 1984 के बाद 1989 में जब इलेक्शन हुए in 1984 में, Congress was the in majority. Massive victory for Congress. We can say sympathetic victory also for, because Mrs. Indira Gandhi was assassinated and her son was there to become the prime minister. The whole, air was towards Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, and a lot of sympathy was there. Lot of sympathy was there, so that he should become a prime minister. But in 1989, when 415 from the 415 seats, Congress was reduced to 197 seats. The Congress improved its performance and came back to power soon after the midterm election in 1991 में. Midterm election हुए थे when Bharatiya Janata Party and all, it was divided into many sections. So again, this Congress party came up. But the election of 1989 marked the end of what political scientists have called the Congress system. बट 1989 के बाद कांग्रेस पार्टी में एक डेंट लग गया था, डेंट, एक तोड़ आ चुका था. And it was the biggest one. From there, 1989 onwards, Congress was slowly getting its last ebb. And but the election 1989 marked the end of what political scientists used to call Congress system. हमारे इंडिया में इंडियन गवर्नमेंट सिस्टम को कांग्रेस सिस्टम का नाम दिया गया था. ये खत्म हो चुका था. To be sure that the Congress remained an important party and ruled the country, and that any other party in the period since 1989, but it lost the kind of centrally it earlier enjoyed the party system. I told you earlier that जो पार्टी पहले एंजॉय कर रही थी मेजॉरिटी का, पॉपुलैरिटी का, कांग्रेस सिस्टम के अंदर, except Congress, nobody. When Mrs. Indira Gandhi was the prime minister, she was Iron Lady of India. I told you earlier also. People used to think after Indira who? मतलब after Indira Gandhi के बाद who means then dot question mark. इसका मतलब कि इंदिरा गांधी के बाद पूरे भारतवर्ष में इनको कोई प्राइम मिनिस्टर नहीं मिल रहा था, ऐसा कोई प्राइम मिनिस्टर नहीं मिल रहा था जो इंदिरा गांधी जैसी शख्सियत हो. Right. So it was the height of popularity of Mrs. Indira Gandhi. Now, it is the first development. कि पहला डेवलपमेंट क्या हुआ कि 1989 में कांग्रेस बिखरने लग गई. Earlier, Congress was only umbrella, a big umbrella, under which small other parties used to take the shelter. एक बहुत बड़ा छाता था वो, जिसके अंदर नीचे अलग छोटे छोटे parties, उसके अंदर they used to take the shelter as a mother party, Congress party. And after Congress who, after Indira who, we used to think, people used to think. And this was the first development. 1989 के बाद ये कांग्रेस बिखरनी शुरू हो गई. Okay, अब तक बिखरती जा रही है. You know the Congress party now, what happened to it? Reduced to the minority and sitting, I think, in the opposition party. Right. वहां पर भी इसको कोई ज्यादा फेस नहीं है. Second development was the rise of Mandal issue. Today I will give you the introduction, what is the main point in this chapter, then we will continue our studies. Right, second development was the rise of Mandal issue. Mandal issue क्या था? BP Mandal से. BP Mandal ने कहा कि 27% should be given to the BC backward classes and other classes also. Reservation तो पहले था ही, and this was also another one. So after that, there was a hue and cry. Lot of students, they killed themselves. एक पूरे पूरे भारतवर्ष में आग लग गई थी against the Mandal Commission. The whole of India was divided into pro Mandal Commission and anti Mandal Commission. So this followed the decision of the new National Front government of 1990 to implement the recommendation of Mandal Commission that jobs in central government should be reserved for the other backward classes also. OBC we call it. This led to the violent anti-Mandal protest. I told you just now, anti-Mandal protest. Many students, they killed themselves. Many students, they killed themselves. Suicide, we call it. And this between the supporters and opponent of OBC reservation. Some were supporting the reservation, some were opposing the reservation. Right. So OBC reservation was known as the Mandal Commission. This reservation is called Mandal Commission. was playing an important role in shaping the politics since 1989. 1989 में Mandal Commission was implemented at the tenure of Mr. VP Singh, the so-called Prime Minister of India. So this Mandal Commission was the second development. Now, the third development. You know, third, the economic policy followed by the various government took a radically different turn. Radically means basic concept, मूलभूत हिंदी में जिसको कहते हैं radical. Radically different turn. This is known as the initiation of the structural adjustment program of the new economic reform new economic reforms started by Rajiv Gandhi. These changes first became very visible in 1991. जो भी changes government ला रही थी, right? 1991 में इस changes को दिखाई देने लगे, ये changes दिखाई देने लगे, right? And these politics have been widely criticized by various movements also, and various movements and organizations. But development, ruling party when it wants to develop, always we have got two party to another party that we call the opposition party. Opposition party is work is basically pull the legs of the ruling party, right? So these policies have been widely criticized by various movements and organizations, but the various governments that came to power in the period have continued to follow this. Right. So this is the answer, and here the you find an cartoon in which it is written risky, difficult, yes, but once we reach there, all workers will be over. Think of that. All worries will be over. Think of that. मतलब देखिए ये सब we call it all the politicians are there, right? Some basic concept, basic problems are NRI policies, loan policies, then foreign capital investment policies, new economic orders के अंदर जितने भी policies हैं, the leader said we should reach the top. After top, reaching the top, what to do? They don't know. They are all confused because basically our leaders are always confused, right? So what to do? Earlier leaders were confused, right? So, but the various governments that came to power in this period came continue to follow this. So risky, and I tell you, we're telling you the cartoon over here. Risky. These are all politicians. They are climbing the stairs, and here one Congress leader is there. Seems to be uh, us, Gani Jail Singh ji. His cartoon is there in which one is IMF, West Bengal orders and all. Lot of problems are there, and the person says risky, difficult, yes, but once we reach there, all our worries will be over. Think of that. And here it's a lot of gap between prosperity and their plan. Welcome to the prosperity. इनके अंदर बहुत बड़ा गैप है, एक बहुत बड़ी खाई है. If they jump over there, who will die and who will live? Nobody knows. So, next point. Fourth, a number of events eliminated in the demolition of the disputed structure of Ayodhya. You know, this was happened in 1992. Right? Babri Masjid खत्म कर दिया गया था. Babri Masjid तोड़ दी गई थी. Right? And the people used to say that down of the Babri Masjid, Hindu temple, Shiva temple was there. Right? And that is in Ayodhya. December 1992 में इसको demolish किया गया. Or this event symbolized and triggered various changes in the politics. Underline कर लीजिए sentence को. This event symbolized and triggered various changes in the politics of the country and intensify debates about the nature of Indian nationalism. You know, lot of India is basically a federal country. Lot of problem is to be there in all type of federal countries. But sometime some issues are there which are very controversial. So this event symbolized and triggered various changes. बहुत सारे changes आ गया किसमें, politics of the country में, और debates हुए और इंडिया की nationalism के ऊपर, or secularism के ऊपर. In what is secularism says that basically, every religion is equal. So secularism के ऊपर भी question mark आ गया. This development are associated with the rise of BJP. अब यहाँ से एक और पार्टी उभर के सामने आई. Now that particular country is that particular political party is ruling this Indian polity system, that is called BJP, भारतीय जनता पार्टी. पहले ये जनता दल था, जनता पार्टी बनी, राष्ट्रीय स्वयं सेवक संघ. Then lot many milestones they have crossed. Now BJP is there. We call it Bharatiya Janata Party. These developments are associated with the rise of BJP and the politics of Hindutva. And here is also a lot of controversy. Somebody says Hindus are separate and Hindutva is separate. Many people, I don't want to say the name over there, that Hindus and Hindutva is separate. It's not possible. Hindus are the part of Hindutva. How can we, discourage Hindutva? How can we divorce Hindutva? Finally, now assassination of Rajiv Gandhi. एक movie आई थी, Madras Cafe. I told you earlier also, in which it was, this was scene was there, how Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, a Prime Minister of India, was killed by the Sri Lankan Tamils or Indian Tamils and all. Finally, the assassination of Rajiv Gandhi in May 1991 led to the change in leadership of the Congress party. He was assassinated by a Sri Lankan Tamil linked in LTT, Sri Lankan Tamilian group. Right, a 13 years age of girl, she was hardly studying in 8th or 9th standard. She killed Mr. Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi, our Prime Minister of India. In the election of 1991, Congress emerged as the single largest party. अब इसका असर क्या हुआ कि कांग्रेस जो थी, it became a largest party in 1991. Right. So assassination always have some type of sympathy whose leader is being killed. Congress party थी, Congress party last ebb में थी. So, when Rajiv Gandhi was killed, the sympathy was towards Congress, basically towards a person. That person was Mr. Rajiv Gandhi. He was the Prime Minister. So, in this election, 1990, after the assassination of Mrs. Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi came. So, in the election 1991, Congress emerged as the single party system. Following Rajiv Gandhi's death, the party chose Narasimha Rao as the Prime Minister. Narasimha Rao became the Prime Minister of India. Narasimha Rao, he became the Prime Minister of India. Then, here, era of coalitions. एक पार्टी जब दूसरे पार्टी में ज्वाइन कर जाती है to give the support inside and support from outside, that we call it coalition government. Right. Now here one is Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, one is there, and one is the Dr. Pranab Mukherjee is there. Oh, sorry, Jyoti Basu is there. VP Singh and they are supporting. It's the National Front government led by VP Singh was supported by left represented by Jyoti Basu as well as BJP LK Advani. Here it is written. BJP leader L.K. Advani is there, right? And Jyoti Basu from the West Bengal government. They supported whom? They supported Vishwanath Pratap Singh, that is National Front government. Now you see what happened. How is he dancing? The thread is controlled by these two leaders. This is called coalition government. These two leaders, L.K. Advani and Jyoti Basu, they were controlling, National Front leader, Mr. VP Singh, and he was the Prime Minister of India. Right. Next topic. Election in 1989 led to the defeat of Congress party did not result in majority of any party. किसी पार्टी को मेजोरिटी नहीं मिली. अब यहां से शुरू होता है एरा ऑफ कोलिशन. सपोर्ट करना एक दूसरी पार्टी को अपने मकसद के लिए. Now, the Congress was the largest party in the Lok Sabha. It did not have a clear majority and therefore it decided to sit in the opposition. जब क्लियर मेजोरिटी नहीं मिली कांग्रेस को तो उसने डिसाइड किया कब 1989 में. जब क्लियर मेजोरिटी नहीं मिली तब इसने ये डिसाइड किया कि बेटर है कि ऑपोजिशन में बैठे. So sit in the opposition. The National Front, which itself was an alliance of Janata Dal and some other regional parties, received support from two diametrically opposite political groups, the BJP and the Left Front. अब BJP और Left Front एक दूसरे से जुदा हैं. If you know the politics of Bengal, Bengal was absolutely controlled by Jyoti Basu. Jyoti Basu belonged to Left Front, Communist Party. And BJP is basically on the line of Hindutva, Hinduism. So both are opposite to each other, but they combined themselves and they supported Vishwanath Pratap Singh, National Front leader. He became the Prime Minister. On the basis, the National Front formed a coalition government, but the BJP and the Left Front did not join in this government. Now, support जरूर किया था, Vishwanath Pratap Singh ko, but they didn't join this party. And it is written over here, these two says that they said they will support the government from outside. The government from outside. Here now, the very important part is that decline of Congress. यहाँ से कांग्रेस की उल्टी गिनती शुरू हो गई. Right. Countdown. The defeat of the Congress party marked the end of Congress dominance over the Indian party system. See the sentence over, very effective sentence from your book. The defeat of the Congress party marked the end of Congress dominance over the Indian party system. अब यहाँ पे धीरे धीरे कांग्रेस का वर्चस्व खत्म होने लगा. 1950s, 1947 onwards, 40s onwards, Gandhi started, right? And Nehru there. Then slow and steadily, 1989 आया, 40 से लेकर now, and Congress started to count down its end. अपनी उल्टी गिनती शुरू कर दी. Do you remember the discussion in this chapter 5 about the restoration of the Congress system? Way back in late 60s, the dominance of the Congress party was challenged, but the Congress under the leadership of Indira Gandhi managed to re-establish its predominant position in politics. देखिए, let me tell you one thing. No doubt that, Mrs. Indira Gandhi was the one leader who was able to capture, who was able to dominate the whole Indian politics. इसमें इतनी, this lady was so capable that she divided Pakistan also. पाकिस्तान के भी टुकड़े कराकर ने एक नया देश बना दिया था, and that was called, now it is in the map of the world, that is called Bangladesh. But after Mrs. Indira Gandhi, Congress started declining. Right. So due to Indira Gandhi's policies and politics, it was able, who Congress party was able to reestablish its predominant position in politics. The 90s saw yet another challenge to the predominant position of the Congress. It did not, however, mean the emergence of any single party to fill its place. अब दूसरे पार्टी तो के पास इतनी majority or powerful power nahi thi ki, they can come up as a, they can come up as a the single majority system, single majority. Now that's why the BJP came. It took good years, good decades to come up as a strong power. बहुत वक्त लग गया. Right. Then what has what it was the what was the result? The result was multi-party system. Right? Multi-party system. Here, multi-party system. Multi-party system means one many parties, they are ruling with the coalition government. They are ruling the country. To be sure, a large number of political parties always contested election in a country. Our parliament always had representative from several political parties. Parliament के पास representative है बहुत सारे दूसरे parties के. What happened after 1989? 1989 के बाद क्या हुआ? 1989 के बाद बहुत सारी parties उभर के सामने आई. After 1989, there was the emergence of several parties in such a way that one or two parties did not get most of the vote of the seats. This also meant that no single party secured a clear majority. बहुत सारी parties आ गए हमारे इंडिया के अंदर. पहले क्या था? Just Congress थी. Let me tell you one single majority party was Congress. Congress ruled throughout the country, everywhere, maximum, except left parties, West Bengal and Kerala, दो तीन state को छोड़ के. Throughout India, Congress was there. But after Congress, nobody was able to get the majority. And when there is no single party getting the majority, then what will happen? We will say that multi-party system come up. Multi-party system aa gayi. To be sure, a large number of political parties always contested election in a country. Our parliament always had representatives from several political parties. What happened after 1918 was the emergence of several parties, what I told you now, in such a way that no one party get the majority of votes. This also meant that no single party secured a clear majority of seats in any Lok Sabha election held in since 1989. 1989 से लेकर 1989 के बाद भी single party उभर के सामने नहीं आए. Right? So this development initiated an era of coalition government. It could be a question for you. Write a short note on the coalition government, coalition parties. You have to write these points from, this is the page number 177. This development initiated an era of coalition government. Underline collegiate sentence. Go at the center, in which regional parties played a crucial role. Regional parties played a very crucial role ruling the alliance. Ruling the alliance. So here I stop the lecture for today onwards. Tomorrow, your homework will be 177, 178 and 180 तक आप पढ़ के आएंगे. मैं आपके साथ करूंगा political rise of other backward classes. I will start from here. 3 pages are there. Plus whatever I have done with you, You will revise the this part, 3 pages plus what I have done, and I will start it from the decline of from the uh, vertical rise of other backward classes. But I will, recapitulate with you whatever you have done, so that there should be no difficulty which you face to read and to understand the problems. We will discuss, but you have to study, you have to read it. Whatever I have given homework for you. Right. Till then, take care.